it is someone that coming in, and it's like it take place. It's going in into my body, and now it's up in my head. But not like when Jesus come, he make me get headache. This is something different. And I see it's a woman that is here with a long dress. She have a long dress. So I'm going to ask her if she is an angel or if she is a spirit. It's different. Angel is angels, and spirit is people that have lived here on earth. And she don't really answer me, but maybe she answer me later on, because I think it's a spirit of a person that had lived here. I know she hold her hands together. That some people do that when they are talking. They don't stand still with their hands. She is like holding her hands together, clapping them together when she should talk. And when when some people talk like that, is it something like, can you hear me? She's very hard on me now. When they clap their hands before they are talking to you, that means that you should bring it into your brain and remember it. So she is here to tell us something that is very important to remember. But I don't know yet what she is going to say. She say she is an angel. She's saying that. She say that. She is an angel. She say it separated from what she did. And she talking about the teacher in the school, in a normal school, teacher in this world. She's talking about it's for someone here. I don't remember so much about my school because people, my classmates, were so evil to me. I was on my own my whole life. They were talking behind my back since I was born. And it was the same in the school. When I be a teenager, I didn't. Now it's coming. I'm talking about my life, but it's about your life also. And you should remember it. Something here that will be said. And I say that to you that when I start to be a teenager, I didn't go to the school. I refused to go to the school because everyone was evil. Evil on my classmate, and they hit me. bully me very much. And so when I was about 11, 12 years old, I stopped to go to the school. Then when I got my freedom in that way, that I could decide it over my life. And I didn't care if it's be trouble after. If my mother should know it, I didn't care, because it was to survive only. So my mother, she was divorced from my father, and my father didn't live in the same city. So he was not involved in my life when I was 11, 12 years old. And sometimes I was laying under my bed and wait for my mother to walk away. And she had she owned a cafe. She have her own business, so she have to go about 6 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes she didn't go so early. I think it was sometimes it was that she had help, so she could she go later. So I was on my way to the school, it should be, but instead I lay under the bed and wait for her to walk away, because she was busy to start her day, so she didn't know where I was in the home. And we have a big apartment with 4 bedrooms, so it was easy to hide. And so it's about you that had this a very hard time with the school. And in that, when you have no parents, like I didn't have any parents that took care of me or educate me or work for me to have a nice life. For me was it that I didn't go to the school. I wait until my mother had gone away, and then I could be in our home the whole day and making pancakes. I remember pancakes every day. I love that. No one, I never heard my mother talking about that so much egg and milk was going away like that. Maybe I say I did that when I come home from the school, that I was hungry, so I did pancakes. Maybe I lie for her in that way. And so this angel, she's here because the angel is for life, and they want you to have a life here on earth. The angels doesn't want you to come with them to heaven when it's not time for you to come to heaven. So she is for life, for your life. I see both a young man and a young woman. So it's more than one she's talking about. that that you had very hard with the school, and you didn't do what I did, staying home, but in your time when you were in the school, they take you to do bad things, sexual things, because you had no one that you could turn around and ask, is it okay to go and hide somewhere and have a sexual activity when so young, and then maybe be pregnant or have a child in early age, and then also that not the same person, but there is other that start with drugs and drinking in young age because they want to run away from the school. So you did that, and the angel is talking about that someone or more than one is in that situation to run away from school, not could tell your parents about it, that what's going on in the school. Like when I complained to my mother about something, my mother said that don't talk about it, I don't want to hear it. So I couldn't go to her and get help. And I understand her because she started to be old and she working from morning to evening. I forgive her for not listen at me. And then yesterday it was a movie, a teenager movie from 1968, and I was scared to walk out on my own. I sit in my room the whole time. I was very scared to go out, so I forced my mother to go with me to the movie theater to watch these movies that teenager did in that time. And I sit yesterday, I watched this movie because it was not interesting movie, it was very bad. And of course it was bad for my mother also, because she was 58 and it was nothing for her to watch. But she did that to me because I begged her so many times. So she said, okay, we go to the cinema theater, movie theater, and then she fall to sleep the whole movie. And I was disappointed, but I was happy to could watch this movie because it was he that was the actor that was about in the movie was my idol, so I could see him. And yesterday I watched this movie in the beginning of the movie, and I was thinking, there was it, my mother fall to sleep like that, and I was laughing about it because In many things I understand her now. When I am in her age, she did that, and that it's some kind of love thing she did to me. She didn't do so much love. She was a very hard-hearted woman. But sometimes it was what I didn't see in that time. But I understand it today that she could have held back everything. But she did it for me. And she fall to sleep after 10 minutes into the movie. And I have to wake her up when it was time to go home. And you had this things, and you have that in your life today. And as I told you that I understand when I am now in her age what was going on. And you don't understand it just now about what's going on around you because you are too young to have experience many things that make you understand what was going on in the past. And the angel is saying that about yesterday when I was talking about Jesus was coming here, that Jesus couldn't tell everything that the disciple had not experienced on their own things, so they could understand what Jesus was talking about. So he couldn't. And so Jesus is the door, as I told you, and it is the beginning to make you think deeper about what have been in the past and what Jesus was telling. And then he tell in John 16 and 12 that he couldn't tell the disciple everything. And for many of you that listen at my podcast, you don't understand what I'm talking about. You try to understand, but it's hard for you to understand when you have not experienced it. So in some way is it like when Jesus was talking to his disciple, and when he was talking, people walk away from Jesus. They couldn't take it. And he talking about things that we don't understand. This is nothing to listen at. And then people walk away. Exactly what people are doing with a podcast, because they don't understand. And that also about to have a door open. They don't even knock on the door to come to know. So many people, I see it in my statistics, many people listen 2 minutes and then they end the podcast. So they will never hear it and they stop themselves to understand what I'm talking about. But you that have my followers, you that have downloaded all the episodes I have done and listened to them, you start to understand what I'm talking about. So should I stop like Jesus stopped to educate people? Jesus saw that people walk away from him and didn't want to listen anymore, and continue with their own life like they did before Jesus, before they met Jesus, and before they listened to Jesus. Then suddenly one day it was too much, so they walk away from Jesus. But he had this disciple that it was like a little about someone is here that is a disciple. The angel have taken someone here. A man is here, a young man. He look 25, and he was disciple of Jesus. And he's telling that it is he that talking, and he say it was like a force to stay with Jesus and listen, but we didn't understood many things that Jesus was saying. We didn't really understood, but we bring it and wrote it down for people to come. They maybe understand what we wrote of what Jesus have say, and he say it's the same with his podcast. He's saying that some of you have downloaded some episodes from me to it's very close for you to understand what I'm saying, but not really hit you. So you have downloaded an episode for really listen later on to try to understand it. And that's how the disciple followed Jesus in those last days. So this I end now because this is what she is telling the angels that come here, and she hold their hands like, I will teach you, I will teach you. And I explain for you what she was telling here. Because you maybe not pick it up, but what she's saying to you and to me also, that when you come to a part, to an episode you don't understand, but you should download it. And when you are in a relaxing mood and you want to know more, then you can listen at this recording and understand it. You should not close it and throw it away. There is a time. Now she's talking to you deep here. She's saying, it will come a time when it's time for you to understand it. And we will help you. We that is in the spirit world will come to touch you, and you understand what we are talking about, because you live in the future. But the disciple never lived in the future. So they didn't understand what Jesus was saying and what Jesus wanted to say. Jesus stopped to teach this disciple when he saw that there was no more to be done for the disciple to understand. And you say that Jesus ended because he was killed. That is not right, because Jesus knew he should be killed, but he could have, like, for me, is it that I still am alive because I still have much work to do for God. But Jesus come. This angel wants you to understand that Jesus come to a time when people start to walk away from him. The disciple had got enough knowledge, and still they didn't understood. They understood it when Jesus had died, and after they understood what Jesus had told them. So you have to understand the time. There were no more to do for God, for Jesus, because the time had stopped there. They couldn't take more, the disciple. But you that live today, you can take so much more than what the disciple could take. So you have to pass by that door that is Jesus. You need to go forward, because you are not in the disciple time. This is what the angel was holding her hand about. Now I understand it. She is talking about it's time for you to move on. You are not living in the disciple time. You have more knowledge than what the disciple could have been for 2,000 years ago. So why are you staying there in a door opening? It's time for you to walk into the knowledge and until today. You live in the past. But we in heaven, the angel is saying, we in heaven, we want you to walk forward, to walk these 2,000 years till today, and not staying in Jesus' time for 2,000 years ago, not in the disciples' time for 2,000 years ago. So that was what was needed to say to you, for you to develop, to move forward, to understand what's going on today, and not for 2,000 years ago. So thank you for listening. We love you, all of us in heaven and on earth, that want you to understand